Welcome to the Jewish Link Pitch Meeting Podcast. We are here right after Yom Kippur, Gemar Tov. We have a very, very special guest. His name is Hillel Kornwasser. And Hillel, welcome to the Jewish Link.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a privilege to be here. Super excited for the conversation.
So Hillel, first of all, I was actually looking to see when you first came onto my radar screen. It's exactly a year ago. Okay, I received an email from someone that you know and love, your father, basically telling me that you were coming out with a film, and that's actually when that film, which I want to hear about, that film is where you kind of popped into my consciousness, and I just want to tell us about the film, Building Resilience, and just tell us a little about, I know you're homegrown for the Jewish Link. You're part of our readership. You grew up in the community, in my core community, the North Jersey area. Tell me a little bit about how you got to a film at the age of 14.
Yeah. So I'll take you back. The film's called Forces of Resilience, which ties into the whole theme. So I'll really take you back to right around October 7th. Once October 7th happened, just like everybody, I was in shul.
Oh, you were in 8th grade. October 7th. No, you were in 9th grade? No,
I was in 8th grade. 8th grade on October 7th, just starting 8th grade. And I took a break. Davening was really long. It was, I believe, Shmini Atzeres, Simchas Torah. First days of Sukkot, we were in Israel. We flew back October 5th to be with family in Teaneck, New Jersey. So that kind of sets the groundwork. We were there, and then we came back, and it was Shabbos morning, Saturday morning, and I stepped out, and one of my friends comes up to me. He says, "Hillel, did you hear what happened in Israel?" I said, "No." He's like, "There was a terrorist attack." And my initial reaction was, as unfortunate as it is, there's so many terrorist attacks in Israel. So I'm like, that's terrible. My brother was in Israel for the year, so I said, was it anywhere near his yeshiva? Was he affected? No. Fine. Go back into shul. Later that afternoon, I have a lot of friends over at my house. It's like a regular Shabbos afternoon. And Sunday was the second day of Chag, same thing. And then right after Sunday night, we're about to make Havdalah. And my parents just aren't coming into the room to make Havdalah. So we realized something was up because we're all like, hey, let's go. We want to get back on our phones, get back to real life, but they're just not there. So I walk into the other room to see where they are, and I see that they're on the phone with my brother who's in Israel, and at that point, that's 4 a.m. there. So I realized something's really up. My parents come in the room, make Havdalah, we turn on the news, ridiculous numbers, unheard of, 900 hostages, all these words that I've never heard in my life. All these numbers that I've never heard in my life as well.
But you sound like you're taking that. That's actually how a typical 8th grader would hear it, like just
yes.
Really crazy. It's hard to even process, even for adults, by the way. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So my initial reaction was, this is terrible. But I'm in Teaneck, New Jersey. There's nothing I can do. I have nothing to do with this. I'll daven, I'll pray for them, whatever, all that type of stuff. But there's nothing that I can do on a personal level. So that question echoed with me for a little while until about February, where the night before, it was a Tuesday night. Wednesday, we were going to Israel. Tuesday night, I had playoff hockey. I was the captain of the RYJ hockey team.
And you guys were good, I think, correct?
Yeah.
You won the championship.
No.
No? Well, sorry. Sorry about that.
A couple of years before.
I thought you were good. I just know the Kornwassers are good hockey players. That's all I know. Okay.
So we were playing Yavne that night, and we were supposed to put up a good competition with them. We got absolutely blown out. I was very upset. I was torn. And my dad's like, I get home, we're packing for Israel. We're going the next morning. I think it was we're leaving the airport at 6 a.m., something crazy like that. I'm like, I'm really not down, Dad. I really do not want to go. He's like, we got to go. This is what we're doing. Kind of dragged me to the airport, dragged me there. I was the whole time, why are we going into a war zone? What are we doing here? I was your typical teenager. I wanted to just kind of be depressed after losing a game.
But the trip had been planned.
The trip was planned.
Oh, this was a volunteer trip? What were you guys going for?
So we were going for a bar mitzvah, a family friend's bar mitzvah, but we were also going to do some other volunteer work while we were there. So Thursday, we went to a barbecue at a army base, the Nova Festival, that whole thing. Shabbos, we were in Yerushalayim. And then Sunday was the last day of our trip. And I was still okay, this was a nice trip, but it didn't really do too much to me.
And this is and you're not taking videos. There's no social media.
Nothing.
At this time.
Right. This is just Hillel Kornwasser doing his thing. And I'll even say before October 7th, this is like that whole trip. I actually had like all of this type of setup because I was doing a baseball show. I was like very into sports and all that type of stuff. So that's where kind of the transition happened. So I had like that kind of feeling in my head already. But Sunday, we were going to Ichalov Hospital, a recovery center for injured soldiers. Yep. And we initially walk into the hospital. And this is a part that I don't usually say, but I find it to be super important. We walk in and we're supposed to like meet soldiers, and like we just thought we were gonna walk into the hospital, we could just walk into rooms. And like people were like saying like, no, like you can't. We're walking out and there's this lady that says, hi, where are you from? And this lady was like, I literally think she was like a malach, because we're about to leave and like just do like what you would do in Israel, tourist things, if we weren't gonna go and do this meaningful thing in the hospital. She said, let me take you around to meet some soldiers. So we're about to leave. She takes us in to meet soldiers, and we walk into a room
that you hadn't seen, but you were not able to meet prior, meaning you would.
Right, we were about to leave.
Got it.
And we walk into a room of a soldier named Rachamim. Rachamim changed my life. We walk into this room, and Rachamim is sitting there on his bed, and he just smiles at us. And we start like trying to engage in conversation with him. Pulls out his phone, writes, I was injured by an RPG weapon on October 7th. I cannot speak. And he later communicated with us that nobody ever visits Rachamim. Because he can't speak. So nobody has the patience to sit there and talk with him. So we decided that this guy, he was wearing a kippah, tzitzis, like he was everything that like would replica us there. So we decided we were gonna sit with him and we were gonna communicate by texting with him. So we sat there with him for 40 minutes, texting back and forth with him, talking about Gemara, everything, all that stuff that like we felt a connection to. He was smiling the entire time. I kid you not, I have never seen anybody smile more. So we walked out of the hospital after that 40-minute conversation, gave Rachamim a hug, and I was like so taken aback. How could he be smiling if he's been stuck in this hospital for months and months, he can't speak, and he's still able to smile? So that was something that stuck with me for a long time. We head back to New York that night, and we land in the morning. I go to school obviously the next morning, and I sit down at breakfast with my friends, and my friends turn to me and nothing about Israel. We start talking about sports, the game last night, Yankees, Giants, all that stuff, everything about sports. And I'm like, what? Like I still had that inspiration echoing in my head from meeting Rachamim, from the trip to Israel. And that's when I realized I was that same kid last week. I was that same kid that had no idea what was going on 5,000 miles away in Israel. So that's when I realized I had to bring my inspiration to my friends, to people who weren't able to experience that inspiration that I felt. So that's really how it all started.
So you're saying all this, so it was all this smile, Rachamim smile.
Yeah.
Wow. How old was he? A young man? Was he a reservist?
Yeah, he was. So he said he was in yeshiva for about 9 years, has their yeshiva, and I would say he's probably mid-20s.
Married, family, or you may not know this, I don't know.
I don't believe he's married, but they have a family. I think they're 9 kids, and I got a text this past summer from my dad. Rachamim was injured in his family. His brother was injured also right after October 7th, and I got a text this past summer from my dad, and it said, forwarded from Rachamim, his third brother was injured in combat also. So I just have to attribute so much like credit to the parents of Rachamim and his brothers, who were able to just take in like the sacrifice, the avoda that takes is like incredibly remarkable. And I can't even put into words how much warriors, like they are incredible people.
So you're saying that, so that 40-minute just like, it just got you started.
Yeah.
So
it spearheaded everything.
Okay. So you came back and now what, so take me through the next steps, so.
Yeah, so we got back and I started like doing little projects. I made wristbands, no Lashon Hara 30 minutes a day for Rachamim because of his speech. And
that was you?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that till now. Okay, thank you. That filled in a blank for me. Thank you. Okay.
And then I did a tzitzis, like I did all this different type of stuff. So there were a bunch of stuff that I was doing, and like thank God it really did well. I went over to different schools and all different types of stuff, and suddenly, right before the summer, someone from NTSY reached out to me and said, how would you like to make a documentary about the war from a teenage perspective, fighting anti-Semitism, all that stuff. I said, of course.
Yeah, but how'd they know about you? You weren't posting it, were you?
So the projects were posted, like I did some short videos, and I guess they came across it. So he asked me, how would you like to do this? So I said, awesome, I'm going to camp in a couple weeks. Let's revisit this after the summer. So after the summer, we spoke about it. I ended up beginning production on this film. I thought this was just going to be a cute little thing, a cute little hobby that I was going to do. We interviewed a bunch of different guests, and the whole theme was resilience. So we interviewed guests that have different backgrounds. The 2 Nova survivors were not religious at all. And from Eitan Katz, he was like the inspiration that song has brought to the table since October 7th. There were so many people, Shabbos Kessemem, Hillel Kornwasser, activists. So everybody ties in that same message of inspiration. Jen Early, who lost her son tragically fighting in Gaza. So everybody brings something unique to the table in that film, and it ties in resilience. It premiered December 22nd of last year, right. And we aired it to 2 sold-out crowds, one in Rinat, and we were supposed to use half the room. We had to expand it to the full room because so many people wanted to come and see it.
I heard about that, by the way. Yeah, and it was also in the Jewish link as well.
Yeah, that was incredible as well. And then we did one in Florida, in Boynton Beach, around winter break time, and we had no clue how many people we were expecting. The social we did it and said that was the most people they've ever had in that room. I think it was close to 150 people, and it's reached 10,000 views on YouTube as well. So obviously it's not the biggest thing, but it was something that I felt so connected to, and that's really what spearheaded my activism and everything that I've done for this fight.
Before we talk about it going forward, so just talk about the film. So for those who haven't seen it, so you came up with your own questions. They gave you a script. Did you come up with come up with the ideas for it, or were you taking existing footage of Jen? Because most of these people like Hillel Kornwasser and Jennifer Early, they've spoken a lot. They've posted a lot of stuff also. So tell us a little bit about the film itself and also your role in it.
So every interview that we did was conducted between me and the person. There was nothing taken offline. It was a unique interview with my unique questions. So that's step 1. Step 2, B-roll stuff in terms of October 7th stuff. Obviously that was taken from online and everything that we did there. So in terms of the production, I worked hand in hand with Natan Cohen at NCSY. Incredible. He was the person that brought me into all of this. And we really worked together on making sure that it was the best piece that it could possibly be. But besides that, that's really how we worked on this production.
Okay, okay. So you did 2 events. Does it have any legs? You think it's? I mean, I don't know if you're. I mean, there's still a lot of these films that are still out there. Still, have you tried to? Are you doing any more with it? Is there a future for the film, or are there plans for others?
Yeah, so there's definitely, for that film, I would say, in a sense, I kind of grew out of it a little bit, because I'll speak about in a few minutes of how my activism has grown over the course since that film. But I did one about Yom HaZikaron a few months later, and that one I literally put together in a month and a half. I met a bunch of people, and I'm like, everyone was asking me, like, oh, what are you doing for Yom HaZikaron? I'm like, it wasn't on my radar. I guess I should be doing something. So I put something together. It was a really nice piece, and I spoke at, I believe, 6 schools on Yom HaZikaron, all over the place. The film was shown in over 15 schools.
You spoke in 6 schools on one day?
Spoke in 6 schools in one day.
Impressive.
Yeah, we packed in that day.
All in our area, all in North Jersey area. Correct?
Yeah. So all in the tri-state area.
You spoke, or you introduced the film, or you did both?
So for different schools, it was different stuff, whether it was shorter, just introducing the film, or opening up to questions. So that's what I did on Yom HaZikaron itself. And then on that day, it was also shown in other schools. Obviously, at 6 schools, we calculated the max that I could speak at, but that was where it stood for Yom HaZikaron. And really, it was just about producing a piece that teens and even adults texted me, my father, my parents, that they were able to connect to the piece as well. So that was something that was so crucial for me. I'll take a step back actually, because there was one really exciting point in my story that I totally forgot to mention, and that's about Rachamim. So I'll go back to this past year's Sukkot. So this is probably going to air sometime around Sukkot. So about a year ago, we were back in Israel, and we were ready for Sukkot, getting ready, and my dad's like, we have a special guest for today's meal. So there's a knock on the door, my dad's like, get the door. Open the door, it's Rachamim, the wildest thing. he had a full recovery. He was able to talk, and like that's resilience in like one story. And that's like my favorite story ever to share. I always get goosebumps when I say it, because Rachamim's resilience and the fact that like we were able to have that moment was like so incredible. So,
fully healed, able to speak. Wow.
So yeah, obviously there's a lot of recovery and a lot of like work that has to be done, but he was able to speak. We had a full conversation with him. Just remarkable resilience.
Beautiful. Wow, that's so nice. That's awesome. I mean, I was afraid, I wasn't sure if you knew the postscript, so I'm really happy there's a postscript to that. So that's really cool. I hope you stay in touch with them. It's I don't know if you're able to, but I'm saying that's really cool. So you got started. Okay. First, are you still playing hockey? Are you still?
I'm still playing hockey.
But you're hockey plus. You're in a sense.
Right. Yeah. So it's really, this activism has taken up a lot of my time, and it's a lot of stuff. So I would say from hockey being my like biggest hobby, it's kind of like moved down on the list, but it's definitely like, I still think that it's super beneficial to be doing physical stuff and to be having a hobby outside of the intense stuff that like the comments that I get on my social media, like everything like is very intense regarding this world. So it's important to have like an outlet where you could just like put everything away for a minute.
I 100% agree, and no question. And I started following you, and I see where you've been. I actually want to hear about where your latest posts. I saw you were at the Magen David Adom dinner, I think, recently, and I saw that you have a number of posts and reels, real activism, actually, protests or, saying. So tell me a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about that. And I'm interested in hearing that. So, like, first of all, when I first heard about you, I thought, oh, Hillel's a filmmaker. That's actually that's why I thought, oh, he's into film. I had no idea about social media side of it.
Yeah.
Obviously today, you can't just be a filmmaker, but I thought it was kind of one dimensional.
Right.
So you're not just one dimension anymore. Actually, I was going to ask you is how you see yourself now, and tell us how you see yourself now in terms of what the latest stuff you're doing, and also what you're thinking about going ahead. I know you have to finish high school first. Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's very funny because a lot of people ask me this, like in a bio, how would you describe yourself?
I'm asking you that.
So
exactly right.
I've thought about it. I think I would label myself in a few things. I would say Israel and Jewish activist and social media content creator. Mm-hmm. That's how I would put it. And I think if you were to ask me when I made the documentary, I would say closer to a filmmaker, but it's definitely evolved, and I think more of an activist now. And that's something that's taken on a new term, a new value for me. A lot of the stuff that I've done, I've spoken at protests, rallies, and the meaning, the connection to it, I think it's super important. And to anybody watching or listening, I think it's super valuable for everybody to come out to these stuff, because you realize the impact that this stuff makes, the people that are listening to it from outside, and you hear the difference and the tone once it changes when you're outside their building or when you're making an actual difference. Obviously social media is beneficial, but the in-person stuff is really the stuff that makes the big difference. So I would stress that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to have to mention it because I just know your parents. I like your parents. I mentioned this to you before off air. I am looking at you, and I see, in a sense, this Hillel Kornwasser did not happen in a vacuum. Okay, you may have been just a regular 8th grader, but I can tell you, I'm sure that in your home, these kind of themes, you probably grew up with this. So you may not even realize it. So I'm just telling, give you a chance to give your parents like a little bit of credit here, because if not, because I'll make sure they because I'm just saying, there's no way you didn't come from nowhere. So. Yeah.
Of course, my parents are incredible, and none of this would be even close to possible without them, because my parents are incredible with the flexibility. Like, they're letting me go to a protest with like all these different stuff attached, and they're like always so supportive, picking me up from school, driving me to a speaking gig, everything, every step of the way. So I definitely attribute a lot of credit to me being the youngest, which is a lot.
Interesting. I didn't realize that I forgot that dynamic. You're the youngest.
Yeah. So
okay.
But they are really incredible, and we're like having them to like go through ideas with me, and like my dad and my mom both know like exactly what they're talking about, even though they're not like the most social media type of people. Yeah. Like they know how to guide me on every path, and they've done such a good job with all of my siblings. I would say each and every one of us has had like our own unique skill or talent, and they've like pinpointed each way and how to guide each child. So I think that's really special about my parents.
And I agree with you. That is definitely true. I forgot that you were the youngest. Okay, so that's what they're the ones that give you the most flexibility.
Yeah.
So that's I'm happy to hear that. Okay, so tell me about some of your most recent posts. Tell me about some, what do you see evolving? I know high schools. How do you balance school and what you're doing? Like it's really challenging because these events are like they come up all the time. A protest, like, hey, you have a Gemara test the next day. Like, how do you balance it?
It's a great question. I'm still trying to figure out how to answer it myself. So if you have any advice, I'm definitely open to taking it. Like I would say, I just spoke outside of the UN on Erev Yom Kippur, and my parents are like, "Are you out of your mind?" I was like screaming on the top of my lungs outside of the Qatar permanent mission to the UN. And I was like, I had like this massive Gatorade.
What were you screaming?
So I literally.
What position do you take?
So I'm very big into this is the deal on the table. So I don't know once this out's hopefully all the hostages are returned.
Right.
But right now as we sit, it is crucial because I believe that this is the last opportunity for Hamas to accept this deal. Obviously, nobody ever wants to negotiate with terrorists, but we've seen as the deal has gotten okay, we started with prisoners release, all that stuff, but this will be, I believe, the last option, that last opportunity to bring the hostages home. Because if this is not accepted, I'm afraid that Israel will have to fully eliminate Hamas, Gaza, which obviously eliminating Hamas will be incredible and huge, but I'm worried for this fate and the security of the hostages. And obviously the worry still stands for the future of the state of Israel, but this is the deal that is the best option, I would say. I wouldn't even use the word best because it's not such a great deal, but this is the only option on the table right now.
So you're in the camp that's not so happy with Netanyahu's Qatar apology, correct?
So I wouldn't necessarily get in, I try to shift gears when it turns into the Netanyahu policies and everything. I think that he personally has done an incredible job handling the war from a perspective of a prime minister since October 7th. It's definitely a very, very difficult position for a prime minister, for Bibi Netanyahu to be in. But in general, I have been mostly in favor of the decisions that he's made. And I think with Trump and Netanyahu being aligned, I think that is something that gets way overlooked. For the people that are anti-Netanyahu, anti-Bibi, when you look at it, for the prime minister of Israel to have a great relationship with the president of the United States is something that gets overlooked way too much. And that is a very valuable piece that is there in the benefits of having Netanyahu as prime minister.
Wait, so who were you there with on Erev Yom Kippur? Who? And I think I saw you were leading or you were speaking.
So I was there with Shai Davidai, former Columbia professor. So I've worked closely with him more recently, and we're working on a lot of cool stuff coming up. So Shai Davidai has kind of been a big mentor for me. So he texted me the night before. He's like, "Hey, would you want to come to this? I know it's crazy, Erev Yom Kippur." I'm like, "I guess can't hurt." And
your parents just took you. Oh no, you Ubered there.
So I Ubered there. They're like, nah.
Okay, the Erev Yom Kippur.
They don't like coming to the protest.
Wait, so what's Shai David? I mean, I know he's a mentor to you. What kind of stuff is he working on now?
So he's big with his Here I Am with Shai Davidai podcast. So there's a whole movement around Here I Am, Hineni it's called, and just bringing teens together and adults and everything in that aspect. I'll keep it very vague because we haven't officially launched it yet, but that's really what I'm working on.
So saying stay tuned for Shai Davidai, Hineni, Here I Am Youth Teen Initiatives.
Yeah,
correct.
Stuff's coming.
Okay, good. All right, that's. I was asking. So, what's next for you? What's next for Hillel Kornwasser? Do you feel like an achrayus responsibility to post every day or so? Do you feel I'm saying? Do you really feel that you have an audience? You're building an audience that that wants to hear from you because I'm following you now. I'm telling you, I'm one of your audience now, so I'm saying I'll be looking out for you. So
yeah, thank you. For sure, there's definitely a sense that whenever I have an opportunity, the second I turned on my phone last night after Yom Kippur, I saw the terrible attack in Manchester,
right.
And before I even put food in my mouth, I'm like, okay, I need to figure out what I'm doing tonight about this, and I just didn't have time to get around to making a video, but I made a post about it, and I was figuring out, okay, do I do any media hits tomorrow? What do I do regarding this? So I posted right away about it, and then that was step A. So it's a big priority for me, and it's not just an achrayus that I feel, it's something that I enjoy and I think is a tremendous value, and the voice of a teen is something that's not out there, so I feel like I have that opportunity to do that, and I'll even build on other stuff that's coming. I just did a video with Zach Sage Fox. So Zach Sage Fox he's done all this stuff on campus and exposing anti-Semitism. So we've been discussing an idea of, okay, he does all this stuff on college campuses where all the anti-Semitism is exposed there, but there's not, like, it originates from somewhere. It starts in the family house, whether it's in public schools. So we decided what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with a video where we bring 20 strangers from New York City into a classroom, and I brought 5 other students from public schools, whatever their background was, to share their stories of anti-Semitism. And the most fascinating thing I've saw, and I actually am curious to see a study on this, is the adults in that room were so much more open to hearing from children, from kids, from teens, than they would have been from hearing from adults. And I know that because these people were very obviously an outward. There were 20 people in the room. I would say going in, there were probably about half that were pretty anti-Semitic, who chanted Free Palestine, who did the motions with that. There were 3 or so who were semi-pro-Israel, had some common sense, and then the rest were just had no idea what was going on. So leaving that room, we had majority of the people that were either pro-Israel, pro-Jews, and were not going to chant. There were people that said, in the beginning, that they were chanting Free Palestine, and leaving, they said, we're not going to do that anymore because we understand what that means now and how you've described it to us. There were 2 people that, left and were like, okay, we're still going to do that because they just have no common sense.
Hardcore, or
exactly.
you couldn't shift. So what did you do? How'd you get them to change their mindset?
So we spent 3.5 hours in a room recording. It was intense. And we just there was a panel of, I think, 6 students, and we said our stories, and then they all had the opportunity to ask questions about it. And some of the questions were genocide in Israel and all that stuff, and they pounded hard. And I even was just texting with Zach the other day, and he said this is such a valuable piece because the teen aspect has been covered by nobody. And he said everyone's loved it that he's shown it to so far. So that's going to come out
hold on.
soon.
So Zach is responding, or you're responding? I mean, these adults in the room are they listening to you and the teens?
Yeah, exactly. So Zach wasn't there, but he's spearheading the whole project, the whole initiative.
So you're saying that the adults were quicker to listen to kids as opposed to adults?
100%. I think that has to be a factor somewhere, because when they feel that they're hearing from people, I didn't really get into it, and I assume these people have kids, and when they hear about experiences about how kids have been bullied on a bus for being Jewish or stuff like that, it's hard to turn your brain off to stuff like that. So I would say that's a very important aspect, the teen aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. It actually relates to the killing last night in the recent killing in the UK. Really just guy ran over these Jews and stabbed them just because they were Jews, exiting a shul. And I think that's actually, I think, one of the big challenges is to really get people who are Free Palestine understanding that Jews really see the creation of a Palestinian state mean basically the annihilation of the Jewish people. We associate much of Palestinian activism with the death, annihilation, the ending of Jews. So I'm saying, if you're able to convey that to adults, that's awesome. I'm saying if you're able to, because that's something this is something I think about a lot as a publisher. I often feel like I'm too, or our Jewish Link is we are preaching to a kind of our own world. We kind of know this stuff. We don't get out enough, and I'm saying for you to be able to get out there at a young age, really young, and fight that fight, so to speak, is really important. That's awesome. So is that film out there? Where can people see it? So
that hopefully once this video is out, it will be out. We're figuring out when the best time to release it is with all the holidays and everything coming up. So, but hopefully over the course of the next week, it will be out at some point. So it's going to be released in different pieces on social media. That will be on Zach's platform, Zach Sage Fox, Hillel Kornwasser. Those are the 2 platforms you could find it on.
I'm going to give you a suggestion, which is, as these guys invite you for things, think about where it's great. I'm glad you're being invited by Zach Sage Fox and NCSY, but think about you're really not far. Think about where I, Hillel Kornwasser, can actually do something on my own.
Right.
You know, I'm just saying, meaning you should be on these things. It's good. And just like you're on here, we're happy to have you here as well.
Thank you.
But I'm saying, think about, whatever it is. It could be a reel. It could be, just saying, think about what would make sense for you. I'm saying you'll be in a lot of these situations. You realize that didn't really work, but maybe if we do it like in a different format,
right.
or what I'm saying is put that Kornwasser creativity to work.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you're able to do that, then I'm just saying. But first of all, number one, you'll be out there representing our Jewish people, and also just really sending out that positive message, which is so important. Okay, which is really important. I'm just trying to think. Where can people find you? Anything coming out, that for sure that it is definitely coming out, or and by Sukkot, like you do anything, you planned anything for the holiday, or anything coming up, or that we should be aware of, shouldn't be aware of. Obviously, again, I keep thinking you're still in school. You're still in 10th grade. So wow. Okay.
There's a lot. I have a lot coming for October 7th, the 2-year commemoration of October 7th. We're doing a lot for that.
Anything live, anything not live, or just releases, things like that?
So we're doing releases. I'll be at a few events on Sunday for commemorating 2 years since October 7th.
Okay.
And really just, I would say people find me Instagram, Hillel Kornwasser. That's my primary where I put all my stuff on Instagram.
TikTok,
So I have TikTok also. I'm starting to put stuff there. It's also Hillel Kornwasser there, but my primary is on Instagram. We are working on a really nice piece for October 7th to commemorate 2 years, and a lot of stuff that's in the works we're working on.
When you say we is me, Hillel, or we with partners?
Yeah, so I'm definitely working on it with a bunch of different partners, a lot of different content creators that I've worked with in this field to partner with on a lot of this stuff. But primarily this main project that I'm doing for October 7th will be under my brand.
Oh, okay. So you're already doing you're doing what I already told you to do.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Right.
So
should have told me that.
There's a good balance. So I definitely am doing a lot of stuff with other creators and other activists, but I definitely have a lot of stuff that I'm doing on my own and that I'm starting up different types of stuff that's my unique self for sure.
Okay. Hillel, it is really great to have you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in our pages, on our site, on our platform for many years to come, doing good stuff. Keep us in mind always as a sense of your home paper, your home media source. Obviously, keep doing what you're doing on Instagram as well. And looking forward to seeing you, number one, finish high school, and number two, really growing as an activist, as an influencer, as a media personality. And I want you to know that I look around. I don't see that many guys doing what you're doing. Certainly not your age, and certainly not with the kind of the foresight. Yeah. You realize that no one, like I'm looking. There's not that many people doing what you're doing. I hope you understand that.
Yeah, thank you. No, so I'll speak to the camera for 1 second, because if you're a teen or you're anybody out there, let's not keep it that way. You have an opportunity to make a difference. Every single person has that opportunity to make a difference. So if you see an opportunity, whether that's online, whether that's going to a rally, going to a protest, whatever that is, take advantage of that opportunity so that you can make a difference as well. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the conversation that we had and everything that we discussed. And of course, Jewish Link is incredible. I sit every Friday night, every Shabbos day reading it. So it's really exciting to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you for migrating from the sports pages to the news pages, and I guess now the feature pages, and we'll be covering you throughout, God willing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being with us on the Jewish Link Pitch Meeting podcast. If you would like to participate or be in touch with us in any way, please email us at editor@jewishlink.news. And follow us and find our podcast wherever you find podcasts.